You sorted your attitude problem out?
Look, don't be like that. I'm here to remind you to do your Spanish revision.
Oh, okay, yep, let's go.
Okay, here you go.
Good afternoon.
Buenas tardes.
My name is.
Me llamo.
See you later.
Hasta luego. Buenas noches.
Good morning.
Buenos días.
Goodbye.
Adiós.
You are welcome.
De nada.
What's your name?
¿Cómo te llamas?
I'm sorry.
Lo siento.
Good afternoon.
Buenas tardes. You know, there are two reasons for me learning Spanish. One is just a little bit of time for my head to think about something other than work or family or whatever it might be. That's the main thing. The second thing is, we went to Spain a couple of times as a kid. Me and Bex absolutely love Barcelona as a city, love the culture, love the food, love everything about it. Been lucky enough to be working on a couple of training camps over in Mallorca in the last few years and absolutely adore it. And I cannot wait to go to Spain and Mallorca and be able to understand a little bit more about what people are saying and try and be understood in their own language. That's the only reason I'm learning Spanish. I wish I was a little bit better at it, but I've got to keep practicing. Good morning. It's Wednesday morning, nice spring day. Just out to do easy 45 minutes along the coast path, but a nice easy start to the rest week this week. Just a couple of days off with some busy work, but yeah, so that's the plan for today. 45 minutes easy. Strange. This is usually where I used to go swimming with the university swim club, and now I've been here to have my first coronavirus test to go back to uni on site. Don't forget to hit thumbs up, subscribe, notifications bell, or I'll set a dog on you. It's fresh this morning. Been a beautiful day, and the plan today isn't necessarily really to go out for a bike ride, even though I am out on my bike. This ride is purely really to try out a couple of techniques using the drone on the bike. I've always been really jealous of Eric Lagerstrom's particular ability to film himself on the bike with a drone, but also some of my friends, Patrick Lorenzi, apologies if I got your name wrong, and more recently Will Cowan, starting to use a couple of different, like the follow technique on the drone. So I'm going to go and find a quiet stretch of road somewhere and see what I can work out how to do. So this is the first spot that I put in a flight plan for this morning, and hence the first issue as well. It's these things, there's so much to cart around. If I'm going to be doing this on my grand tour, I think this is where like the Mavic Mini 2 would come into its own, because the Mavic Air is so much bulkier, and I use it for commercial work too, which is why I use this, because the resolution and the frame rates give you a lot more options, plus the colour. Whereas the Mini, I think I might be wrong, but the Mini 2 I think you can control just with your phone. You don't need the controller. I might be wrong on that, but it's certainly a lot smaller than this thing. But that's the first consideration I need to think about. So experiment 1 seems to go okay, at least from my perspective of flying it and riding. So experiment 2 now is to try and see if I can sort out this follow feature, which I've never used before. So we'll give it a go. I'm going to try a technique that Patrick mentioned to me about putting it on my handlebars, putting the control on my handlebars, because I've got to remain in control of the drone whilst it's moving. And there's a hot air balloon in the distance, probably can't see that. It's quite a still day, even though it's cold. And then using some toe straps to fix it to my handlebars. Toe straps, for those of you that are fairly new to cycling or younger than me in the 80s, we used to have cages that we used to put our feet into. If you've ever wondered why they're called clipless pedals, because they were clipped, and we used to have a strap that we'd tighten up around sort of the ball of our foot over the top of our toes to keep our feet in the cages. And they were a bit of a death trap, not great for your knees either, because there was no float in them. And yeah, so I'll be using a couple of those. I've got an old one of mine, and I've got a really old leather one that was given to me when one of our founding cycle club members, well, as we say, went on ahead. And I'll be using those to try and fix it to the handlebars. See that swim hat under there to protect the Garmin and the control, and a couple of toe straps on here, and an old leather one here just to hold it on the bars. Fingers crossed that came out okay. A little bit of fiddling around to get it to be in the right mode. These things always take time the first time round, but seems to track fairly well, fairly confidently. I could see any obstacle problems that it had with trees, etc. Really no issue at all. That's one of the bonuses again about having the Mavic Air 2 over something like the Mini, which doesn't have anywhere near the amount of sensors. I'm not even sure if it has the active track feature on it either. But yeah, I'll have a think about. I mean, it's clunky, it's awkward to sort out during a proper ride, I think. But yeah, I think a little bit of thinking about how to use that would be good.
So that pretty much wraps it up for this rest week. I had intended to do a little bit more. I had intended to do a turbo session and another short run, but work this week has been pretty manic trying to get ready to get back on site. COVID tests, paperwork, admin, just to make sure everything's on level, and also having to teach people that are going to stay online and people that are going to be coming in and trying to think about how to teach both of them in the same way. But anyway, that's fallen in a rest week, so it's better to over rest than it is to overtrain. So that's absolutely fine, puts me in a good position. I feel really zinging and ready to go and be able to commute in on the bike and put the hours in another 3-week build for the rest of March. So also the drone practice, that seems to go okay. I'm gonna have to think about how I'm gonna do that. It's not gonna work on every bike ride that I go on because my pockets are gonna be full of drones and they need to be full of food and drink to be able to get me through the rides that I'm gonna be doing. So it has to be something that's tied in maybe with when I've got a support car, and ideally somebody who's driving that support car that can actually fly the drone themselves. We'll have to look into that a little bit more, but it is something that I think gives great footage and a little bit of added value to the actual channel itself. For normal rides, it's absolutely fine, but I think for the Grand Tour thing, I'm gonna have to rethink stuff a little bit about how I actually get around to doing it. And the last thing is this week I've been putting together all the Di2 parts for the Trek build, and that has been fun and games. In the end, I've had to get the parts from 9 different suppliers. It's a combination of Brexit stuff, it's a combination of the lockdown, and things being scarce anyway that have been a bit of a problem here, even to the point where I thought at one point I was going to have to get stuff shipped to my dad's in France and then him ship it to me, but in the end I managed to get it from UK suppliers. So all the bits of the Di2 build are coming in, and once that kind of gets up and running, hopefully by the end of March that'll all be built and I can get out on the Trek finally in some good weather with the Di2 build done. That's it for this week. Start building the miles next week, that's the plan. Start thinking about what I'm going to be doing and doing some recons for some of the rides that are coming up. That's the plan for the remaining 3 weeks. Have a good week, and I will see you in week 147.